Hello students, let's continue to explore 5.3.1 in part of topic 5, Edexcel, GCSE Computer Science, Social Engineering, which is related to this idea of technical vulnerabilities and malicious code, malware. So social engineering means manipulation to persuade someone to divulge information. So you will be duped or tricked into giving away information. The biggest one, and I see this so many times, every day I get phishing emails. They're expecting me to click on that link, click here. They'll make it really time sensitive. They'll say, a typical one I get is from like, dear BT user, change in T's and C's, log in here. If we don't hear from you, close account. It'll be something time sensitive. You have to do it urgently. And that's where they push people into thinking, oh, I have to do something now. I have to make this, I have to deal with this now. They're probably on their way to work, not even reading the email properly. So phishing scams are very prevalent, and you can often see, from the email, there'll be some little mistake in there, or the email will be too generic, right? So always check the email address as the first port of call, where it's from, and there'll be, there might be a little tilde or something above the T, so it doesn't get flagged by the algorithms which deal with spam or junk email. So it might have been in your main email box and you think it's legitimate. So you've got to be really careful, because obviously AI makes these things harder to detect now. People use them to write these phishing emails, but there'll usually be a typo or something like a little inconsistency somewhere. So phishing. There's another one called shouldering and blagging. So blagging could be a fake scenario. Now this has hit the news recently because people are being given messages purportedly from their family members saying, I've been in an accident, can you send me 100 quid, or whatever it is. And they might even use somebody's voice or a deep fake to trick somebody. I would say to that, to avoid getting tricked into these fake scenarios, have a keyword like a pet name from when you're a kid. Use a keyword. Now this is probably not going to be up in your GCSE, but just being careful. You wouldn't necessarily divulge information unless you thought the scenario was real, like it's your dad or your mum or your grandparents or something like that, or it's a son or a daughter ringing up. Shouldering means to look over. So think ATMs, right? So this is typical of someone literally just snooping in to check in someone's PIN number on an ATM. So let's have a look at an exam style question here. So thank you for clicking on our link. Your important files are no longer accessible. Oh dear. Right. I want access to my files. Okay, can I get access? Yes, you can. Simply send your payment as described below. How long do I have? Oh, it's time sensitive. Bitcoin, red flag here. Okay, what is the malware used in this attack? Well, this is ransomware. It's a ransomware attack. That is the type of malicious software that we're using here. It's a phishing scam, but it's going to be ransomware. Okay. Explain one way that digital systems might be vulnerable to cyber attacks when users do not properly maintain. I mean, this puts a lot of emphasis on the users, which I think is sad. because actually, we're at the mercy of big, often state-sponsored terrorism, and it's really kind of clever. They put a lot of resources in. Cyber criminals put a lot of resources and homework into these things, and I don't think we should be bearing the brunt of all of this. And corporations need to be very mindful of what data they store from us, how they're storing it, and from the Data Protection Act, we'd be going further than that and being really trying to protect our information. Banks in particular, they could do more, couldn't they, to prevent large outgoings to unusual sources. They're starting to do more now in 25, 26, but it's still not enough, is it? Anyway, back to the question. What could we do? One way that digital systems are vulnerable. So we could say software may contain security bugs. That's at least enough for a mark. Okay, because we've got an explain command word, because it remains unpatched. Okay. Going back to that last video that we made on technical vulnerabilities. So that would be a good way of answering that. Anti-malware might not identify an attack because the signatures out of date, something like that. So we've got to be careful to regularly update our operating systems. Of course, that can lead to things not working as expected, and we update thinking we can still use everything, and then some things stop working. So we've got to be a little bit careful and balanced with that. But also just in this day and age, we have to be really careful what we click on. Okay, good. Moving on.